Hey there, welcome back to the world of creepy romance. Hey there, my spooky romantics. Welcome to Chapter 2 of The House on Willow Crest Lane by the amazing Sara Frost. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found us. On this channel, we dive into the dark, twisted, and sometimes heart-wrenching tales of love and mystery. Before we jump back into Elliot's eerie story, I have a quick favor to ask. We're trying to hit our first 100 subscribers, and you can help us get there. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so that you never miss a chilling moment. Trust me, you will want to stick around for what's coming next. And don't forget to check out the links in the description below. Whether you want to grab the full novella or dive into the exclusive alternate endings in the ebook and audiobook, everything you need is right there. You won't want to miss it. All right, let's dim the lights, settle in, and head back to the Willow Crest Lane because things are about to get way more intense. Chapter 2 begins right now. Chapter 2. Marisol drove aimlessly, her hands gripping the steering wheel as she tried to sort through her spiraling thoughts. She didn't believe she was crazy. She couldn't be. The letters were real. The mirror was real. The house's presence was real. But the look in Elliot's eyes, the doubt, the pity, gnawed at her. After an hour of driving, she pulled into the parking lot of a diner she and Elliot used to frequent. The familiarity of it eased her nerves, and she slid into a booth in the corner. She didn't bother with the menu. A waitress appeared, took one look at her frazzled state, and silently poured a cup of coffee. "Thanks," Marisol murmured, wrapping her hands around the warm mug. She'd just taken her first sip when Rosie's voice jolted her out of her thoughts. "Should I be concerned that you look like you just ran out of a Lifetime movie?" Marisol looked up to see Rosie standing there, holding 2 shopping bags and a bottle of water. "What are you doing here?" Marisol asked. "Saving you from looking like you're about to cry into that coffee," Rosie said, sliding into the seat across from her. Marisol sighed. I needed to get out of the house." Rosie raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess. Things got weird again?" Marisol gave her a pointed look. "Okay, weirder," Rosie corrected. "Spill." As Marisol recounted the events with the letters, the mirror, and her argument with Elliot, Rosie listened intently, her usual sarcasm giving way to genuine concern. "Do you think he's right?" Marisol asked finally. "That maybe I'm imagining things?" "No way," Rosie said firmly. "You're not crazy, Mari, but this house? Definitely bonkers." Marisol laughed weakly, the sound hollow. "Oh, Elliot thinks I need therapy." "Elliot's a history nerd who probably thinks ghosts are just bedtime stories," Rosie said. "He'll come around, but you can't just sit back and let this house mess with you." Marisol shook her head. "I don't even know what to do anymore." "You'll find out what it wants," Rosie said simply. "You said it's obsessed with Elliot, right? Figure out why, and if the house has a problem with you, well," she grinned, "make it regret messing with a Latina." Marisol snorted, some of her confidence returning. "Okay, Miss Ghostbuster." "I'm serious, Mari. You can't let it win." "Right, because everyone wants to lose a love triangle to a house." Rosie grinned. "That's the spirit." When Marisol returned home later that evening, she half expected to find the house in shambles. Instead, it was eerily calm. The air felt thick with anticipation, as though it were waiting for her. She dropped her bag on the kitchen counter and turned on the lights. Nothing happened. "Great," she muttered, flipping the switch again. Still nothing. The faint scent of flowers wafted through the air, sending a chill down her spine. "Elliot," she called, but there was no answer. Steeling herself, she grabbed her phone and a crowbar she and Elliot kept near the corner of the front door, just in case. She turned on the flashlight. She checked the living room first, then the hallway, her footsteps echoing in the silence. She was halfway up the stairs when the floral scent grew stronger, nearly overwhelming. A faint creak came from the hallway behind her. Marisol froze. Slowly she turned, shining her flashlight toward the sound. The mirror from the basement now stood at the top of the stairs, its surface gleaming despite the darkness. Her throat tightened. "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh." She caught herself repeating the words under her breath in a hoarse whisper and then made herself stop. Just as she did, and before she could react, the flashlight flickered and died, plunging her into the darkness. Marisol's heart pounded in the suffocating dark. The floral scent, once faintly sweet, now reeked of decay, and the air around her seemed to hum with tension. Her phone's flashlight flickered weakly, casting fleeting beams that barely penetrated the gloom. The mirror loomed at the top of the stairs like a sentinel, its ornate frame catching the faint light. "Elliot?" she called again, her voice cracking. Still no answer. She crept down the stairs, her grip tightening around the banister. Each creak beneath her feet felt deafening in the silence. She moved toward the front door, her mind screaming for escape. But as she reached for the handle, the door wouldn't budge. "You've got to be kidding me," she muttered, tugging harder. She hated sounding like a broken record, even to herself. The knob remained still, like it was glued in place. Behind her, something shifted. Marisol whipped around, her phone trembling in her hand. A faint glow emanated from the mirror, pulsing like a heartbeat. Her reflection stared back at her, but it wasn't quite right. The other Marisol had a wild, desperate look in her eyes, her mouth forming words that didn't match Mari's. The reflection's lips moved silently, forming a single word over and over. "Run!" Marisol's blood ran cold. "What do you want?" she whispered, her voice trembling. The glow from the mirror intensified, and the figure in the reflection began shaking her head violently. She pressed her palms to the other side of the glass as though trying to break through. "You don't understand," the reflection mouthed, her movements frantic. Marisol stepped back, her knees hitting the edge of the staircase. I don't understand what? Talk to me." The reflection suddenly stilled, her head snapping towards something unseen. Her eyes widened in terror. She looked back at Marisol, mouthing two final words. "He's coming." The glow flickered out, plunging the room into complete darkness. Marisol's phone buzzed in her hand, the sudden vibration making her yelp. She scrambled to answer it. "Elliot," she gasped, her voice barely above a whisper. "Mary?" His voice was calm, almost annoyingly so. "Hey, I just finished up." "You need to come home right now," she interrupted, her words tumbling out. "What's wrong?" "I can't explain it," she hissed, backing away from the mirror. "Just get here, please." Okay, I'm on my way." She ended the call and gripped the crowbar she grabbed earlier from the kitchen. Her heart raced as she scanned the room, waiting for whatever it was or whoever he was. The floral scent grew stronger again, cloying and sickly sweet. The house groaned, and a low creak sounded from the hallway. "Willow?" she called, her voice wavering. The chandelier rattled above her, the crystals tinkling softly like mocking laughter. Marisol clenched the crowbar tighter. "You can scare me all you want, but I'm not leaving," she yelled, more for her own benefit than for the house's. The mirror pulsed faintly again, and this time she thought she heard a faint whisper, a voice. "Love." Marisol frowned. "What?" The whisper grew louder, repeating the word over and over. "Love, love, love." "Oh, for crying out loud," Marisol muttered, her irritation breaking through her fear. "Are you writing greeting cards now?" The house shuddered, as though offended by the remark. Marisol took a shaky breath, edging closer to the mirror. "Listen, Willow, or whatever your name is, if this is about Elliot, you've got the wrong idea, okay? You think you love him? He leaves his socks on the coffee table. He eats spaghetti with a spoon. A spoon!" The chandelier rattled harder, the floral scent becoming almost unbearable. "Yeah, I know he's a historian, and you're an old house. It's like a Nicholas Sparks novel waiting to happen," Marisol continued, gripping the crowbar. "But newsflash, he's married to me." The house groaned loudly, and the floor beneath her feet began to tremble. Marisol held her ground, her voice rising. "You think you're scary? I grew up with 4 brothers, and you're gonna have to try harder than creaky floors and a disco chandelier." The lights flickered back on suddenly, bathing the hallway in harsh brightness. The mirror's glow disappeared entirely, leaving its surface blank and still. Marisol stared at her reflection, half expecting the other Marisol to reappear, but the glass only showed her own weary face. The front door burst open, and Elliot rushed inside, his keys jangling. "Mary? What's going on?" She sagged against the banister, relief flooding through her. "Took you long enough." "What happened?" he asked, his eyes darting around the room. Marisol gestured toward the mirror. "That thing is... just don't touch it." Elliot frowned, stepping closer to inspect it. "Wait a second. This is beautiful. Is this from the basement?" Marisol groaned. "Oh, sure. Admire the evil mirror. Great idea, Elliot." Elliot ignored her sarcasm, tracing the intricate carvings on the mirror's frame. His brows furrowed as he examined the details, his historian's instincts kicking in. "This is hand-carved. Probably late 1800s, maybe early 1900s. Look at the..." "Elliot," Marisol interrupted, stepping between him and the mirror. "Focus. This thing is weird." Elliot sighed, running a hand through his hair. "All right. What's so weird about it?" Marisol hesitated, glancing at the glass. There was a woman in the reflection. She looked like me, but not exactly, and she warned me to run. Elliot's skepticism was palpable. "You're saying the mirror spoke to you?" "I'm saying a terrified version of me told me something was coming," Marisol snapped. Elliot opened his mouth to respond, but the house groaned softly, almost like a sigh. "Do you hear that?" Marisol asked, her voice low. The floral scent thickened in the air, sweet but cloying, and the chandelier above them flickered faintly. Elliot stepped back, his expression uneasy. "Okay, I'll admit that's creepy." The chandelier flickered again, and the house groaned louder, the floral scent suffocating. Marisol took a step closer to the mirror, her eyes narrowing. "Who are you?" she demanded. "Where are you, damn it? Why do you look like me?" The mirror rippled, its surface shifting like water under moonlight. Marisol's reflection dissolved, replaced by the woman's familiar face. The woman's lips moved soundlessly, her expression frantic. Her hands pressed against the other side of the glass as though trying to break through. "Who are you?" Marisol demanded again, stepping closer. "Please tell me what you want." She swallowed and blurted a sudden, I'll help you if I can." The woman's gaze darted to the side, her terror palpable. Marisol's breath hitched as the reflection shifted again, the dim room behind the woman becoming clearer. A man stood beside her now, his hand gripping her arm protectively. Another figure emerged from the shadows. Marisol froze as the dark shape materialized. A man, his features sharp and menacing. He carried a small, brutal axe in one hand, the blade glinting faintly in the light. The woman in the mirror recoiled, pressing herself closer to the man by her side. The man squared his shoulders, stepping in front of her as though to shield her from the advancing figure. Marisol's voice dropped to a whisper. "Elliot, do you see this?" Elliot nodded, his face pale. "Yeah, I see it." The scene in the mirror played out in eerie silence. The man with the axe stepped closer, his movements deliberate. His lips moved, his expression twisted with rage, but no sound escaped the glass. Marisol's pulse quickened. "He's going to..." Before she could finish, the axe came down with brutal force, the blade slicing through the air. The man protecting the woman staggered, his form crumpling. The woman's face twisted in a silent scream as she fell to her knees beside him. Marisol clapped a hand over her mouth, a wave of nausea washing over her. "Oh my God! He killed him!" Elliot stepped back, his voice trembling. "And now he's coming for her." The shadowy figure advanced on the woman, his movements slow and deliberate, savoring her terror. "No!" Marisol whispered, pounding her fist against the glass. "Stop it!" The mirror rippled violently, the scene warping and twisting like a bad signal on a TV. The chandelier above them rattled again, and the oppressive floral scent thickened, making the air almost unbreathable. Elliot grabbed Marisol's arm, pulling her back from the mirror. "We can't stay here. This isn't normal." Marisol yanked her arm free, her eyes locked on the glass. The woman in the mirror turned to face her, her eyes wide and filled with desperation. Her lips moved again, forming a single clear word. "Help!" Marisol's heart clenched. "She needs us!" Elliot shook his head, his expression panicked. "Mary, we don't even know what this is or who she is. For all we know, this is some sick trick the house is playing. The mirror pulsed again, the scene flickering back to life. The woman in the mirror screamed silently as the axe-wielding figure loomed over her, his hand raised for the final blow. Marisol stepped forward, her fists clenching. If it's a trick, it's one hell of a convincing one. Look at her, Elliot. She's terrified. The chandelier rattled harder, and the mirror flashed brightly, forcing them to shield their eyes. When the light faded, the glass was still and dark, reflecting only their own faces. Marisol turned to Elliot, her voice low and trembling. We can't just ignore this. We need to figure out who they are and why this house is showing us this. Elliot nodded reluctantly. All right, but let's be smart about it. There has to be something here that explains whatever this is. Marisol glanced at the mirror one last time before stepping away. Then let's start looking. All right, guys, that is the end of chapter 2 of The House on Willow Crest Lane. What just happened? That mirror scene was absolutely spine-chilling, right? Is the house playing mind games, or is there something much darker at play here? And who was that woman in the mirror begging for help? You don't want to miss Chapter 3, where Marisol and Elliot dive deeper into the house's haunting secrets. And trust me, things are about to get even more intense. Chapter 3 drops tomorrow. But if you're watching this in the future, it's ready for you in the playlist or on my channel. You can't wait to unravel this mystery? We'll get the entire novella, The House on Willow Crest Lane by Sara Frost, right now. It's available on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and more. All the links are in the description below. Do you prefer to listen? Well, the audiobook is also available. And here's the exclusive twist. The ebook and audiobook include 4 alternate endings. Creepy, funny, horrifying, and mind-blowing. That will never be shared here or on other video platforms. At just $2.99 for the ebook and $4.99 for the audiobook, it's a steal and the perfect way to experience the full chilling journey. So what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you're the first to know when Chapter 3 goes live. Let me know in the comments what you think is really going on in that house. See you tomorrow for more thrills, chills, and creepy romance. The links are below, guys. Happy reading or listening.